Hello, everyone. I hope everybody's having a fantastic, well, actually a fucking fantastic day. I wanted to share the #1 tool for communicating during conflicts and disagreements. And it doesn't even have to be only during conflicts and disagreements. It can be during all communication. And this was something that we were discussing in, hey, Jen, that we were discussing in our Facebook community, the Intuitive Phoenix community, around the topic of the Four Agreements, the book, The Four Agreements, which is an excellent book. It's an excellent tool to use to help you to transform your life. And we've been discussing it in our community. And after we've done it for a couple of weeks now, one of the things that have stood out that people were sharing when it comes to what do we do when we find ourselves in disagreement, when we find ourselves in conflict, what is something that we can do? And I'll share that in just a moment. But I want to go back a little bit because one of the topics, or the, hey Ruth Ann, that one of the topics that we were discussing was how for many of us, when we are moving forward in our lives, we spent so much of the first part of our life, decades, whether that's 2, 3, 4 or more decades, learning. We were learning from our parents, from our teachers, from our leaders, from our government, from people in the news. We're constantly learning. And we all agreed that at some point in our life, we realized that we needed to unlearn, that we had agreed to things when we were young, in childhood, things that were given to us, that were passed down to us, that were indoctrinated to us, and in such a way that in a lot of cases it did not give us choice. And we took on those agreements because we had trusted the adults in our life. And then as we got older, we realized that things were out of balance, they were out of alignment, that they weren't really working for us. So we did agree that we now have been doing some unlearning to then choose what is in alignment, what's in integrity with who we are as authentic, fucking fantastic beings. So if you find yourself feeling like, okay, I'm unlearning, hey, we're right there with you. But the #1 tool that we discussed in talking about these first couple of agreements as their own tools to life transformation and to living your life in a way that feels really good is to stop reacting. It's to start responding. And the way we do that, #1 tool, you hear me talk about this all the time if you've listened to me really talk at all, and that is to breathe. Often when we're communicating with somebody, certainly during conflict, during disagreements, our nervous system tends to be firing in survival mode, fight, flight, freeze, and we're reacting. Sometimes things are coming out of our mouth, and how many times has this happened for you? That things are coming out of your mouth, and when you step back from the argument, or it ends, or it explodes, and you are walking away and you go, wow, I'm not even sure what I was talking about. I'm not even sure what this argument was truly about. I'm not entirely sure what we even said. If that's been you, I'd love to see some thumbs up or some yeses in the comments that says, yeah, I get you. I can remember that. And it's because I was so busy reacting. And not just with my words, but with my energy, with my feelings. I was all caught up in it because I was in fight, flight, freeze mode. I was in survival mode. So the number one tool is to stop and take deep breaths. It's to stop and help your body to go from survival mode, that fight, flight, freeze, into a relaxed state. Now, sometimes a few deep breaths is enough. Other times you might need to walk away. And if you don't always have the opportunity to walk away, you know what? I'm going to run and use the bathroom. Or I've got to get a drink of water. Something that gives you some space so that way you can get back in your body. You can connect back to your body. Get out of your head and move into a more relaxed state. Because if we're in conflict, if we're in a disagreement, especially with people who are important to us, or in situations that are important to us, do we want to be communicating from survival mode, which our nervous system is saying this is a life or death situation. And it's just to get out alive. Most of us don't want to be making important decisions or saying things to people that we love and who are important to us from that place of survival. And so that space is key. Sometimes I have to say, you know what? I realize, and this is a matter of taking responsibility for me, I realize I'm in fight flight mode. I realize that I'm not capable of holding a loving, supportive conversation where I'm open to really hear what you're saying. And so I'm going to go take care of me so I can come back so I can really hear what you're saying and know that what I'm saying is coming from a loving place, from a supportive place, from, to use the 4 agreements since I mentioned that, and we've been reading that book in our group, is to come from that place that we're using our word impeccably in the direction of truth and love. And that might mean I walk away for an hour. It might mean I walk away for 24 or 48 hours because I've got to do some personal work first. Now, Ruth Ann says, I know I have to be mindful to watch my tone of voice. I tend to cry when in disagreement. Well, I know my voice goes. I don't know about anybody else. If you tend to cry when you're in disagreement, like thumbs up or yeses in the comments. If you notice that your tone of voice starts to change when you're in a disagreement or there's a conflict of some kind, I know I hear that in mine too. I can feel it start to build. And I know that if I get past a certain point, whether it's my tone of voice or the way my body's feeling, I've gone from, okay, I'm hearing you and I'm not entirely comfortable, which, you know, most of us are not comfortable in conflict or disagreement. And, you know, if it's a low level, we're probably okay. But if we cross that threshold from a more relaxed, open state to that fight, flight, freeze, then it's time to take a break. It's time to take care of yourself. And to me, it's tone of voice is a big one. That's an indicator for me that, ooh, I have to start watching what I say, what I'm doing. I have to be aware as I'm listening and about to respond, because I want to respond. I don't want to react. Respond means I'm coming, for me anyway, this is my belief. Respond means I'm coming from a place that I'm grounded, I'm connected, I'm in my body, and I'm not running in survival mode. Now, one of the statements that I have used a lot, especially when maybe somebody wants to talk to you and you're not even quite aware that there is a conflict, and they say something and you realize you're immediately triggered, and you immediately go from, okay, I'm here to listen, and you immediately feel that switch that takes you into fight, flight, freeze mode, and you feel it. At that point, I respond once they're done speaking, saying, I'm not quite sure how to respond to that. So I'm going to take some time and I will follow up with you, or I'll get back with you, because I want to give this the time and attention that it deserves. And part of it is because I want to give me, because it starts with me, I want to give me the time and attention that it deserves. I want to be impeccable with my word. I want to be in integrity with myself. I want to be sure and clear that what I'm sharing with somebody else, what I'm saying to somebody else, is what I truly mean and what I truly intend and want to say. So I find that to be excellent, because I can say that, because it's a phrase that I use, I can say it more easily. I can say it as a response. Hey, Cindy. And it's just that response of, I will get back to you. I'm not sure how to respond as of yet. And if it's somebody who I love and who's important to me, I may add, because I love you and you're important. And I want to be sure to give it the time and attention that it deserves. So Ruth Ann is also confirming how important the breath is. Take a deep breath and let it out slowly. It helps to balance the vagus nerve. So yes, again, we want to bring that nervous system into or out of fight, flight, freeze mode. We want to bring it into balance. We want to bring it into a relaxed state, because it's from that state that we can respond versus react and then later go, oh shit, I don't even really remember what I said. I know I said some things probably that I could have said better. Or, oh, yeah, I didn't handle that well at all. How many of you have done that, have walked away and gone, oh, yeah, I could have handled that better. I could have handled that better. I know I've done that. Hence the space, starting with a breath, starting with 3 to 5 breaths, or walking away and coming back. I've done that as well. I've done some deep breathing. I've walked away. I've come back and realize, okay, that wasn't enough time. That wasn't enough space. I need more time and space. And at that point, I'll say, I realize I'm still not okay. I realize I'm still not in a place to be able to truly hear you and to be able to respond. And so I'm going to take some more time and I will get back to you. Now, if you've got tools that you use, Ruth Ann just mentioned breathing with her and breathing slowly. If you've got other tools, I'd love to hear them. You can feel free to post them in the comments. If you've got questions about this, post those too, whether you're watching live or as a replay. And of course, if you are watching it as a replay, please post #replay. It always just gets me a sense of who's interested in what. And if I can help you move through this, develop this technique or this skill for yourself, because it does take practice. And I know having support can make that practice so much easier. Shoot me a message. I'd be happy to help. Post a comment below. You can also, because I can help you directly, or you can also join the Intuitive Phoenix community, because we have discussions around this. And as I mentioned, we're discussing the 4 agreements right now, which is a foundation of this work. So I'll wait a breath. I'm going to take a breath or two. Use that space. I'm actually going to get a sip of water. So that way, see if anybody has any other comments or questions, anything they'd like to ask or share before I wrap up. And if not, feel free to join me in the deep breathing too. All right, everyone. I'm sending you lots of love and magic, and of course, all things fucking fantastic. Until we connect again, remember to breathe. You'll be glad you did. Love you all.